Watch this.
This doesn't seem like a library bill that people want.
Huh. Well, apparently this time they listened to the people as the latest library bill dies in the Senate.
I don't think that's how this is supposed to work. The state's not supposed to put people out of business.
But according to current Idaho law, that's exactly what happens if a state liquor store opens in a small town. It's a loss of a distribution license, and some lawmakers say that's just bad business. Another hit to healthcare in Idaho. Since the state's abortion ban was triggered, it has elicited an exodus of OBGYNs. We find out from those who just published a study why that is and what to do about it.
What the bill doesn't do is ban books. What the bill doesn't do is ban ideas.
And what the bill doesn't do is pretty much anything at all right now, because the second attempt at the harmful materials in libraries bill died this afternoon on the Senate floor, failing to advance by 2 votes. Senate Bill 1289 popped up as the compromise nobody really seemed to want after House Bill 384 stalled in committee last month. 1289 would have removed the direct step to civil enforcement for materials a parent deemed obscene found in the children's section of a library, and put in a 4-step process instead before a library could be on the hook for a fine. Steps like a relocation form, a review committee, a public hearing, and a possible appeal. It was a bill many librarians and senators believed, well, wasn't needed at all.
I think this is an unnecessary bill. There is no plague of pornography in our libraries. Every library in the state already has a process in place for challenging books. I trust librarians, but more than that, I put my faith in local control. And for that reason, I'll be voting no.
As for the others who voted against it, well, this time it just wasn't tough enough. Too many steps to remove a book.
I don't think we should just take any bill. I think we should take the best bill, or a bill that everybody is, if it's something we're going to pass, I believe it should be something we are proud to pass.
I think this is a very convoluted approach to trying to help families and help parents go through a process. And so with that, I will be voting no.
Okay, so the other side of this, well, I guess the idea was other bills have been and could be worse.
I think public hearings are costly. They're a problem. I think that private right of actions actually make me want to never vote for a bill. But here's the thing. I too do not want something that's worse than this. I've called my librarians and said, you know, I'm gonna vote for this bill because I do not want something that stifles you more. They're good people. They're watching out for your children. Our library is the safest place in my city for the kids to go, and they're there all the time.
The vote count shows 17 in favor with 18 against, fewer than a majority having voted in the affirmative. Senate Bill 1289 has failed to pass the Senate.
Okay, so for the 4th time in 3 years, the Idaho legislature has failed to pass a law against local control in the libraries. That would be the 4th time in 3 years that a library bill made it out of committee. As this one's not going any further, and we don't suspect another one coming up, although there is still one kind of alive already, or still, I should say, in a committee on the House side. We'll see what happens with that. A couple other bills we talked about this week, well, they are still alive. The Senate joint memorial asking President Biden to do something about the U.S. southern border. That was adopted on the Senate floor Tuesday and is heading to the House Agricultural Affairs Committee. Meanwhile, in the House, Monday we talked about House Bill 510 on worker verification status. This bill is still awaiting a hearing in the House Commerce Committee. Another one waiting to be talked about, and one which could garner some colorful conversation. That'd be House Bill 606. That's the one where the in-house Representative Bruce Skog joked about this week, where anyone convicted of having less than 3 ounces of marijuana will receive a mandatory minimum fine of $420. Yes, that's the bill. A couple other bills got smoked this week. House Bill 539 about reporting school bullying to parents apparently was too much to do and died on the House floor. House Bill 558 tried to shorten unemployment benefits from 6 months to 16 weeks max. That one did not make it out of committee. Again, still a lot more to talk about in the State House. They're trying to wrap up in about a month or so. And of course, we're going to try to stay on top of it for you until that happens. The doctor shortage in Idaho is a very real thing, but it isn't really a new thing. 22 years ago, the American Medical Association put Idaho last on the list for physicians per 1,000 people. 35 of Idaho's 44 counties were federally designated as medically underserved in 2008. Well, not much has changed since the aughts, but in the last 15 months or so, a collection of Idaho doctors say it's actually getting worse now. The recent numbers should concern every person living in or considering a move to Idaho. That's according to the Idaho Coalition for Safe Healthcare. They are the parent organization to the Idaho Physician Wellbeing Action Collaborative. It's a smaller group started by doctors Deb Roman and Dr. Edward McGeekern to bring their community together to solve some of our healthcare issues that we all face. Well, they put together some numbers in a post-Roe Idaho report. They put that together this week, and it's based on what's happened with doctors since the Dobbs decision overturned Roe v. Wade and triggered Idaho's abortion ban. What they found isn't good. We have fewer OBGYNs in Idaho, fewer specialists with expertise in early pregnancy problems than we did more than 15 months ago. Practicing medicine in Idaho was an exclusive profession to begin with.
The physician and provider sort of supply in Idaho is the lowest in the country per person.
In January of 2022, the Association of American Medical Colleges listed Idaho last, with fewer than 200 doctors per 100,000 people. The COVID pandemic didn't help, keeping more people away from a career in healthcare and pushing seasoned physicians toward an early retirement.
And so we became more concerned that the environment in which we're practicing became more and more harder to practice as time went on.
Hostile workplaces and physician burnout were both topics being tracked by the Idaho Physician Wellbeing Action Collaborative, but they added another focus during the summer of 2022.
When Roe v. Wade got overturned, we were concerned that the supply of people taking care of pregnant women would diminish. We were interested in see what would happen.
What did you find then in that 15 months after the Dobbs decision?
So there's about 1 million women in the state of Idaho. And we found that there are about 260 OBGYNs taking care of those 1 million women. We found that about 50 to 60 either retired, quit practice, or left the state,
leaving only 210 obstetricians practicing in the Gem State, a drop of about 22%.
We also found that more than half of the maternal fetal medicine specialists left the state during that period. We also found that only 2 OBGYNs moved to Idaho during that period.
Highlighting that loss in access to maternal care, several labor and delivery departments have since shut down across Idaho or just across the border, beginning with Bonner General Health in March of 2023. St. Alphonsus shut down its birth center in Baker City in July. And just this week, we learned West Valley Medical Center in Caldwell will close its labor and delivery and NICU units by April. All three suggest this was a supply and demand decision. They're not getting enough people that are giving birth to babies that need to use these services at these locations.
Yeah, I mean, that's some of it, but you've had a population that's increased in the state of Idaho. So the numbers of babies have increased in the state of Idaho. The other part is that the supply of doctors. When I look at what happened at West Valley, the conversations I've had is that they can't recruit people to do the work that needs to be done. It's not a shortage of pregnant ladies, it's a shortage of workers.
I've heard that. You've heard that from doctors who were there.
Yeah.
Okay. The next big question is, did your study, your research, did it tell you why?
We haven't looked into why yet, but we know most of these people. We know their kids' names, their dogs' names, where they got a tag to hunt elk, and if they got their elk or not. And so we can ask them and hear what they are. A lot of it is just the difficulty of taking care of people and the standard of medical care. They feel affronted with that.
In Idaho?
In Idaho, correct.
Because of laws?
Because of the laws that we see today.
Idaho's abortion ban went into effect in August of 2022, threatening anyone who performs an abortion with a 5-year prison sentence and a loss of license. Dr. Deb Roman,
I think it's shocking.
Says the exceptions allowed are too confusing.
What I'm seeing actually is I'm seeing a lot of despair in the physician community. Our training is that we provide the best care we can to our patients based on the standard of care. And when we don't have a situation where we can easily do that, or where there's confusion around that, then our concern is that the patients will not have the best outcomes.
What is the reason people are not coming or getting into this profession in Idaho?
Well, I think that when you think about where you want to live and where you want to practice, you want to be in an environment where you feel comfortable and you feel you can get the care that you need. Some physicians just don't feel that they can practice in the way that they've been trained, so they may not be as likely to come to this state.
Is it too simple to, I guess, blame this on one thing and one set of laws in Idaho?
Yeah, it could be. I mean, there are many, many different reasons why people come and go. One of the things that stuck to me is that you had about 50 to 60 people quit or go, and only 2 people come, and so that's a problem. The roundtable that we have, has hypotheses about why that is, and we probably ought to figure out ways to recruit people or retain people to this state.
Does that table include lawmakers?
We've invited lawmakers. We haven't had many people show up to that table. Would love to have folks show up to that table, but it's got to be an authentic conversation. I mean, I think everybody has the same endpoint, which is we really want the people in this community to be very healthy and to pursue freedom and enjoy happiness as much as they are able to do.
Okay, so as of November 2023, we were down to 210 OBGYNs, obstetrics physicians in the state of Idaho. I asked the doctors today where we should be. They said about 300 is where we should be. Believe it or not, Dr. Roman and Dr. McEachern, believe this is a solvable problem. They resolved big issues before with this group, but they do need more people joining them at this big round table. There may be some of you out there pointing at other factors involved in our overall doctor shortage. The average age of Idaho's physician workforce is, yes, it's older than the average or the overall standard across the country, outpacing most of the country. There's also the lower birth rate claim. In 2021, there were 22,427 live births in Idaho, a fertility rate of about 61 per 1,000 women aged 15 to 44. In 2011, 10 years earlier, that rate was about 72.3. The factors can include all those things, but the report released this week is pointing out the timing of the 22% drop. It's kind of curious. And the fact they can't recruit doctors to Idaho, with only 2 moving into the state over the same period, that part is also alarming. It's no secret, not all of us are native Idahoans. That's fine. But when you moved here from, say, maybe California, were you surprised to learn it was the state that was calling the shots when it came to liquor? Like, you couldn't just pick up a fifth while you're grabbing a gallon of milk at Albertsons. You have to stop by a state-run liquor store to do that, unless you're shopping in a small town. And in those situations, the state will contract with a small private business, could be a grocery store or a gas station, in order to sell its scotch. But once that town is big enough for a state-run store, well, those small town stores will lose out on something that likely brings a lot of customers in. It's that exact scenario facing the Mercantile in Star. But as Andrew Bartline shows us, a bill at the State House could keep them from watering down their profits.
In a town growing fast as longtime locals can count.
That was back when Star was really Star.
Humble beginnings
600 people.
build
Would you like a receipt?
into overbearing burdens.
Gosh, I think it's close to 20,000.
But the heart of town never changed a bit.
Oh, absolutely.
Denise runs the Merc,
We're kind of the small town charm anymore.
the kind of place you buy a wrench, where you buy your groceries,
And that's what they do in most small towns.
where a bag of dog food is good as any doorstop.
That's what we use. It's just convenient.
It's a trick of the trade passed down for generations.
100-plus-year-old business.
Have a great day.
The townies call it a family, but Crystal calls it home.
Yeah, I've lived in Star literally my entire life, and I've been coming to the Merc forever. I grew up 10 feet down the road.
But they fear now it's a dead end.
We are counting down the days. Yes, we are.
For more than 3 decades, the Star Merc carried the state's water, literally. Well, almost.
The state comes in and they ask to lease space from us. You know, because we weren't sure we wanted to get involved with liquor.
But they're sure glad they did.
So for a bazillion years, we were the only game in town. Maverick came in, Ridley's came in, Albertson's maybe a year and a half.
But that wasn't the worst of it. It's this state liquor store a mile away.
Why would you want to do that? You know, it makes no sense when we've offered you basically as much room as you want.
The state drops the Merc's liquor distributor agreement at the end of the month.
If we don't have liquor, we will try to stay open. We will. But I'll be honest with you, I don't know if we can.
Turns out, it helps to have friends in high places.
And that's what this does. It just grandfathers them in.
Speaker Mike Moyle represents Star and pitched legislation this week to protect historic distributors.
To give you an idea, it's not just Star. It'll be cities like Middleton, Emmett. There's many others that as the population grows, the state comes in.
State Affairs rubber stamped the bill straight to the House floor.
Star means as much to him as it does to us.
Because the clock's already ticking.
March 1st, they literally could come and take it all away, I guess. I don't know what they'll do.
Taking not just the bottles, but the jobs with them too.
They help out the little guys, and then when we get big enough, they shut it right down.
You often don't find the best answers at the bottom of a bottle, but here,
It's not a small town anymore.
it's their only shot.
We're just not sure what'll happen.
If you couldn't tell by that sign, that liquor store in Star is currently open right now. And it's not like it's an immediate effect where that store opens and whoever the local distributor is, they get the boot instantly. So their contractor agreement with the state runs out at the end of the month. It is a leap year, so they get until the 29th. But you heard her say, Brian, on March 1st, they don't know what's going to happen. Are they going to a bunch of state people come in here and start pulling the bottles off the shelves? That's their concern. There is an immediacy clause on this as well, so it won't wait till next fiscal year. If this passes and becomes law, it goes into effect immediately. Got a couple weeks to do it. 10 days.
10 days. I got to
10
hurry on
days.
that. I know. So I guess the idea is that they can coexist. They can both sell liquor. Is there a population barrier that they decide that the state's going to bring in and put up a whole storefront?
I don't know how the state decides when they will move into an area when they do have a private business that they're contracted with, but it seems that Star's gotten to the point where the state thinks it's a worthwhile investment, but it's not like they would be competing per se. I mean, they're leasing it for the state. People would just have more options in that area.
Yeah, and people still go to the Star Merc for that reason. And the uncut lumber. That's why.
That's why you go there.
That's right. All right, thanks, Andrew.
Beautiful view there, and it's been a beautiful day today. We've had the blue skies, fair weather clouds. This is the view over from Bogus Basin. You can see the clouds in the distance there, and you can actually see them slowly rise as we went throughout the day, adding a little bit more heating, and you can see just a beautiful view from Bogus Basin today. And this is looking back towards that direction. You can see the clouds along the mountains again with that blue sky. We do have some scattered showers in play right now, though, and so that will continue into the evening tonight, but then we dry out tomorrow. And between those two times, as we wake up Friday morning, we could see some patchy fog in some valley locations. But overall, this weekend is looking really nice. On the mild side, drier, more sun, warmer conditions. And you can see that on Monday, we do see some of that changes. So from Sunday into Monday, that's when we'll start to feel those changes. We'll start to feel the winds pick up and the clouds increase. And so today, though, that's looking ahead at what's going on. But today we have a little bit of a tug of war between a high pressure center and a low pressure center off the coast. And so we do still have some showers in the region. However, those do look to be tapering off as we're losing some of that heat during the daytime. And you can see a little bit more towards the Twin Falls area. I don't think any of those showers have actually made it into the Twin Falls city limits, but diving back down to the south. And so you can see the high temperatures today are more mild for February, around the mid 50s for the Treasure Valley areas, and the upper 30s in the mountains, and close to 50 degrees in Magic Valley spots. So we continue to see those shower chances for a few more hours tonight. You can see, again, mainly expected to stay to the south of Twin Falls. And here's some of that fog showing up on our high resolution models into the morning hours. But yes, just valley locations note that you do have a chance of fog tomorrow morning, but that should quickly give way to sunshine tomorrow. In the central mountains, it's going to be a cold start for us. Some of those areas expected to be in the single digits, warming up to about 40 degrees for the high. Slightly warmer over in the west central mountains for those morning temperatures, also warming up to about 40 degrees. And that will also be the case as we go into this weekend for the McCall Winter Carnival, towards the upper 30s and low 40s for the high temperatures during the weekend. Valley locations, once again, we're expecting more of that sunshine for tomorrow. And again, overall, really nice weekend ahead for us, getting up to 60 degrees as what we're expecting for Sunday in Boise. But then you see those changes start to take place starting on Monday, and things getting a little bit more wet and wintry by next week.
All right, several of you are happy about the killing of the library bill on the Senate floor today. Look, this one from Kip says, why are legislators going after libraries year after year? These are parental rights issues, just like transgender issues they've attacked in years past, and abortion rights. This is becoming a backwards state, says Kip. Thank goodness for some sense regarding the library bill. Trust our librarians, and parents should be accountable and responsible, says PJ in Ada County. Okay, this question from Steve. Could the lack of doctors and education be by design? As I listen to our legislators every day, I really wonder if Idaho may become the first state theocracy in the U.S. I've seen that question before. Brian, we see doctors running away, and if the law is passed for guns in schools, we're going to see a mass exodus of teachers. Our state is going to be a bad state, says Rhonda in Boise. How about our senior citizens? In December, I was referred to an orthopedic doctor, and I could not get an appointment until April of 2024. I'm in terrible pain. I have to wait to get medical help for 4 months. I guess I should be grateful I'm not pregnant as well. That's true. This isn't just an OBGYN thing. This is across the board, because if a physician doesn't want to move in here with his family because of the other laws, well, that's a problem for everybody. All right, we got this poem today because of the caucus that was sent in. We talked about this week from Lyle. Oh, Idaho. Primaries are starting, but a caucus we see. All these gathered to make Idaho free. Free to open carry, free to ban books, free to discourage any different looks, free to not fund our public schools, free to make those disparaging rules, free to all with whom you agree, free for just you, but not free for me, he says. There's more to that. We'll put it on our website. We'll see you tomorrow.